Now at 6, we'll go live in Joplin to look at voter turnout for the Missouri primary elections plus.
We'll find out how the August 2nd Kansas primary voting numbers turned out at a polling location in Pittsburgh.
And why the nation's watching the Kansas vote on an amendment concerning abortion rights.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
You've seen the political ads and signs. Now the voting is nearly complete. It's primary election day in Missouri and Kansas. This is KOAM News at 6. In Kansas, the big statewide issue is the proposed constitutional amendment that would allow lawmakers to put tighter restrictions on abortion rights. Among the big issues in Missouri, a proposed Joplin property tax hike to boost funding for the police and fire departments. And of course, voters in both states are deciding local and state primary races. In Missouri, that includes party nominations for U.S. Senate. We're going to check on voter turnout in both states. We begin in Missouri. KOAM's Jalen Banks joins us live from a Joplin polling place, St. Paul's Church on 26th Street.
Well, Dow, voters have been showing up here at the St. Paul's Church all day, casting their ballots on a number of issues. And Jasper County Clerk Charlie Davis says that there has been at least a 25% increase in voter turnout this year, including over 1,300 absentee ballots, and he gives his reasons why.
The City of Joplin and the School District of Carthage have bond issue or property tax measures on the ballot, so there's a lot of people that have an interest in this election. So I think you're going to see a much larger turnout than anticipated because of that energy and that excitement.
And just in case you guys are wondering, you can still go out and cast your votes. The Missouri polling doesn't close until 7 p.m. And this is Jalen Banks reporting live in Joplin, KOAM News.
Jalen, thanks. Polling sites in Crawford County, Kansas have reported higher voter turnout than in previous primary elections. A lot of voters are particularly interested in the proposed constitutional amendment on the state ballot. Reporter Bella Line has more.
August 2nd is a monumental day as many Kansans are able to vote on the Value Them Both amendment that regards abortion laws.
It's important for people to voice their opinions on that, but it's important to be out for every election. City Commission, it's not a partisan election, but you should be out supporting who you think will best represent you on the City Council.
If the government doesn't know what the people want, then things get out of control.
According to the Kansas Secretary of State, voter turnout in primary elections has steadily increased since 2016, averaging at about 5% increase every voting period.
It seems to me this has been a much higher turnout for a primary election, more like a general election, so it's interesting to see what the total count will be.
Kansans are voting on more than just the Value Them Both amendment, but also selecting representatives for their party in the November 8th general election.
I used to not really be interested in politics and thought it didn't really make a difference, but I've definitely swung around too, because I think it's important that we get votes from all sides of the issues, because it's just people saying what they truly believe is right for their government and for their state, and they're just expressing that.
I would never miss an election, and I think everyone should take it more seriously.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas, I'm Bella Line, KOAM News.
The people all across our nation are watching to see how Kansas votes on that amendment concerning abortion. Reporter Sean Logging has more.
Lots of people from other states that are interested in how Kansas votes.
After millions of dollars and a blanket of ads, a decision is near on the Kansas constitutional amendment on abortion, deciding if the state's constitution should be changed to remove protections for abortion and return the power to regulate it back to lawmakers. Kansas is the first state to vote on abortion since the Supreme Court decision in June.
This is probably the most national attention for politics that Kansas is ever going to have outside of an election where we are electing either a governor or the president.
Wichita State political scientist Dr. Neil Allen says part of the reason for the national interest is what happens in the Sunflower State could serve as an indication of other abortion-related ballot measures in other states this fall.
A close win for yes or a no victory will tell us that the pro-abortion rights side can win even in conservative and Republican-leaning places.
The main question heading into Election Day, he says, is which campaign is better able to mobilize their voters to the polls.
Proponents had been preparing for this for years because of the Kansas State Supreme Court decision. So we see that the yes side had an advantage because they're the first mover, but the no side is caught up and might have even surpassed.
Dr. Allen says in Kansas, the abortion campaign carries over as an issue for candidates in the November general election, but other topics like the economy could be seen as more important to voters.
Now, if the amendment passes tonight, Kansas lawmakers would be permitted to pass further restrictions on abortions in the state. Be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. We're going to have the election results as they come in. Again, koamnewsnow.com/elections. It is a hot election day. Doug Heddy.
Yeah, near 100 yesterday, and then today above 100 degrees. So day number 17 that we have seen the triple-digit heat this summer. We need some rain. I know we got a little bit of rain over the weekend, but still we have an extreme drought across the region. Heat advisories, and in fact, Kansas, Oklahoma, and also parts of Missouri as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. Not a whole bunch going on. Any showers, any thunderstorms, you have to travel central Missouri down through parts of Arkansas. So through the evening hours, we are going to stay dry. It's hot, upper 90s to near 100 degrees. Southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Also have a little bit of humidity, so heat indices in that kind of 100 to 105 range. We'll drop back through the 90s into the 80s. We do have some rain in the forecast. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
Then, coming up, what a change in a school lunch program means for some area families. Plus, Wyandotte High School takes to the sky with a brand new program. The Universal School Meals Program gave all students access to free meals at school. It's not being renewed for the upcoming school year. KOAM's Amber Jenkins talked to a parent in Pittsburgh.
Parents and kids are enjoying the last few weeks before school starts. However, budgeting for the school year without universal free meals is an added concern.
You have no time, so where I went from a full-time job, I'm lucky if I can get maybe a shift in. My husband works full-time and he makes, decent money, but it's the strain with the gas prices going up, that's been awful, and I commute all the way to Parsons.
With inflation driving costs up, the free school meals took one worry off of Lydia's mind.
Oh, it was so much easier when it was universal. We did before COVID and everything, and then I got the letter just actually last week saying that we were going to have to reapply, and so back again, I was like, oh no, okay, so let me do the math. Are we going to qualify?
The Universal Free School Meals program was enacted as a COVID relief program. Therefore, it needs to be renewed each school year.
And so it went before the federal Congress, and they did not renew the universal free lunch program, and so we're reverting back to the program like it was prior to COVID starting.
That means families like Lydia's have to apply to see if they qualify.
Now they're like, oh, well, COVID's done, and so we should all get back to where we were, so you guys go right back into the slump you were in, and I think that's just so difficult for parents who are even in a worse position than we are.
In Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Parents can find the application link for free or reduced school meals at koamnewsnow.com. An aviation program is taking flight at Wyandotte High School. The Chief Leaford Bearskin Aviation School will start this coming school year. Freshmen and sophomores will have the opportunity to take classes to get their personal pilot's license or branch out to different pathways. Grants from many organizations are allowing Wyandotte High School to get supplies and software to educate the students in this field.
I got so excited because I'm a math teacher as well, and so the practical application and the real-world relevance that brings to my math program, I was super excited about. And so when they came to me and asked me to be a part of the program and to be the administrator, I couldn't have been more excited about it.
Students will be able to take classes for the aviation program and still earn the required classes needed to graduate. A little bit later, how the heat forces beekeepers to change the way they take care of their hives.
And sadly, the heat sticks around, but some rain chances. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be another hot one for us today, the past couple days. After a little bit of relief over the weekend, high temps have been right around 100 degrees. We officially broke 100 today, so today is day number 17 we have done it. nothing to be proud of as we've worked through the summer months. We're looking at Lander Chevrolet. Of course, this is I-44, so this is eastbound, this is westbound, pretty much clear skies. It looks pretty good outside. Just hot. Heat advisories in effect again through the evening hours and into Wednesday as temperatures right around 100 with our heat index a little bit higher. Upper 90s now, Missouri, Arkansas, northeastern Oklahoma, still 101 Parsons, 102 in Chanute, 101 Neodesha, 100 Independence. Yates Center is checking in at 101 degrees. Heat indices kind of sitting in that 100 to about 105 degree range. A little windy at times for us today, kind of like a hot hairdryer. South winds at about 10 to 20, but we've had gusts at times kind of in that 20 upwards to 30 mile per hour range. We're going to continue to see this once again as we go into Wednesday. Outside, 7th, range line looks good, 97 southerly winds, 10 to 15. Humidity is at 37%. We'll drop back through the 90s into the 80s as we go through the evening hours. Really nothing going on here. We've had some isolated thunderstorms just to our east, but you can see our viewing area, we are on the dry side. A few scattered thunderstorms, central Missouri, then once you head south into Arkansas. Besides that, not a whole bunch going on. Dominated by that big dome of high pressure, but we are getting little waves that kind of rotate around it. That's what happened this past weekend. We're going to get another one tomorrow night, which is good news. So let's go through time through the forecast. Here's 6 a.m. Upper 70s to nearly 80 degrees. Quick warm up through the 80s, mid 90s by noon. High temps again, about 100 to about 102 degrees. Here's your day planner. 78 to start, 95 by noon. 101, still kind of breezy. Southerly winds at about 10 to 20. Now look at the difference. Northern counties, some isolated thunderstorms tomorrow evening. Watch these guys. They start to creep a little bit farther south tomorrow night. Here's 2 a.m. Thursday morning. Scattered thunderstorms, a little bit more widespread than what we have seen. So we need this to work out as we go into Thursday morning. Scattered thunderstorms, and then we'll start to dry out. And then Thursday afternoon, a little bit cooler with the clouds and the showers. We'll keep our temps into the mid 90s, but we need some rain. I think most of us, quarter, maybe upwards to half an inch with this next system, which is going to rotate through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Heaviest rain will stay along the north of I-44. 101 tomorrow, we're going to make it an alert day because heat indices are going to be up there. 96 Thursday, 98 Friday. Near 100 again over the weekend, and kind of sitting at about 100 to 102 all next week. So this pattern just does not want to break. We've had a couple days of relief and then right back to this.
So far, August looking an awful lot like July, and July was too hot.
That's not good.
That's true. Thanks, Doug. Webb City beekeeper family is struggling with their honey production this summer because this heat is not good. Jordan Jones says his bees have only been able to produce less than half the amount of honey they should produce, only about 120 pounds instead of about 300 pounds. The heat has forced the beekeepers to feed their bees with a sugar water mix. However, if they do this, they're not able to sell the honey because it's not classified as pure honey. The heat does not only dry up the flowers, which the bees use, but it also makes the hives hot for the bees to work in and produce honey.
Once you look at the hives, there'll actually be a lot of bees on the outside, and it's called bearding. And so what they're trying to do is fan a bunch of air inside, and they're not going to be able to produce as much because it's just so hot.
The fall harvest is also now in danger. Jones is not sure if they're going to be able to have a fall harvest at all this year, in fact. Jacob here now with sports. A big name returns to the practice field today for the Kansas City Chiefs.
After skipping OTAs and the first week of camp, Orlando Brown Jr. hit the field for the first time today. We're going to hear from him, plus a couple local guys aim for a big season for the Missouri Southern defense. More on that when we come back. The Kansas City Chiefs are entering their second week of practice at training camp in St. Joe. Now today, Chiefs got a big name back on the field with left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. reporting to camp and practicing for the first time this summer. And Brown will be playing under the franchise tag this season after he was unable to come to a long-term agreement with the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. Now that means he'll make about $16.6 million this year. Now here's the three-time Pro Bowler on getting to St. Joe and returning to the team for the 2022 season.
I was excited to get out there and get some live reps, man. Obviously I've been doing a ton of stuff, training on my own and things like that, but it felt good, man, to get out there with the guys. I missed a lot of ball up until this point, and, obviously, man, I missed the locker room, I missed the coaches, everyone here in the building, and I know how important this 5-day stretch is to Coach Reed and everybody here at KC, man. So, I just didn't feel right sitting at home, missing out on this. This is something that, I want to be a part of, man. I was brought here to help win Super Bowls, and, this week is very important to our progression.
The Missouri Southern Lions are just 1 month away from their first game of the season. The Lions will host Nebraska Kearney for their season opener on September 2nd. The Southern is coming off a 3-win season, their highest win total since 2014. One of their strongest groups back from last year, definitely the linebacker group. That's a group that features Richard Jordan Jr. and a couple local guys in Colton Winder and Coleman Booker. Now, those guys have become more than just good players for Atiba Bradley and the Lions.
That core, that three, is at a point where they're not worried about scheme. They don't have to. They know the playbook now. So now it's a matter of helping others learn the playbook. They've been leading practices all summer. Basically my role in it is reserving the field for them. That's all the involvement that I have. And other than that, they call the plays, they make sure guys are out there at a certain time, they make sure guys are wearing a certain dress, and everything from A to Z they handle, and they just let me know what time they're going to be out there so I can reserve the field.
The St. Louis Cardinals open a 3-game rivalry series against the Chicago Cubs tonight. And the two teams have played 8 times so far this season and have split those 8 games with 4 wins apiece. Adam Wainwright gets the start tonight for St. Louis. This one will get started here in about 20 minutes. We'll have highlights from the game right here tonight at 10. In the American League, the Kansas City Royals face the Chicago White Sox in Game 2 of their 3-game series. The Royals won the series opener last night 2-1. That one will begin at about 7:10. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news right after this.
We take time now to honor a local veteran. Michael Brigman served in the U.S. Army in his hometown, Nevada, Missouri, and we are proud to salute Specialist Michael Brigman, a 4-state hero. A reminder, you can find election results tonight on our website, koamnewsnow.com/elections, and you can also get them by downloading the KOAM News app. Of course, we'll also have the election numbers on air on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14, and of course here at 10, also at 9. Reaction is pouring in after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's arrival in Taiwan today. And iguanas are naturally reproducing in the Galapagos Islands for the first time since the late 1800s. That and a lot more, of course, tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Hope you're accustomed to the heat by now because it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, really since about mid-June, we've been dealing with bouts of triple-digit heat and another pretty big bout heading in our direction. 101 tomorrow, hair cooler Thursday and Friday, some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Thursday, and then the heat, mainly dry, settles right back in most of next week.
When you say a hair cooler,
it literally is a hair cooler.
You mean like 1 or 2 degrees cooler, but it drops a little bit below that 100 mark maybe, so it seems a lot better. Final sports note.
Big news for the Kansas City Royals today. They traded Whit Merrifield to the Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, Merrifield was a 2-time All-Star and led the American League in stolen bases 3 times. So good career for Kansas City.
I guess so. Stay in touch for election coverage throughout the evening and tonight at 10. Let's make it a great evening.